Alright, it's concrete day. We got about 9 yards coming. I got Leo out in the front, ready to pump the concrete. There it is. Bender's ready mix. Got everything all formed up. Got rebar in these little slabs. Got it running through the little notches we made, making sure we connect everything as one big piece. The curb ready. We oiled the form so we can strip them easy today. This is actually going to be poured a little lower, so we have this little form with a snap line mark on it. And on the other side, we'll be pouring to the bottom of it. Watering down this patio right now because it's gonna be a hot day. We don't want this concrete going off way too quick on us or cracking. Been watering it pretty much for the last like 2 hours until the concrete truck got here. But yeah, that's the overview right now. Alright, so what's going on, you guys? This is Tim Odell with Odell Complete Landscape. If you guys haven't seen the first 2 parts of this series, I highly recommend checking those series out, and you guys can see exactly how we formed up this job. We're pouring out a 3000 PSI mix with fiber mesh included. I got a couple of guys here helping me finish the concrete today. I'm mainly going to be on the camera trying to get all those really nice angled good shots so you guys can enjoy watching us pour out this whole backyard patio plus the side yard. So what we've been doing for this past couple minutes throughout this video is we've just been rodding out the concrete patio and that porch stoop up there. First, what we like to do is float our edges to get them to the right grade and height that we need them at. Once that is done, we'll come in with our 10-foot aluminum rod board, and 2 guys will screed the concrete back perfectly level with those floated edges so that they know they're going to the correct height they need to be at. Like I've also been saying in the other parts to this series, this part we're pouring right now is going to be 3/4 of an inch lower than all the rest of the concrete height because we are putting tile here later on. Well, not us, but there's going to be a tiling crew coming in that's going to tile over our concrete. You can see that little border there, but that kind of separates this side and the concrete patio. We're also lifting the rebar, as you can just notice right there. We got a couple guys on rebar making sure that rebar stays up. I think I was even lifting the rebar as I was filming. Then I got my other main man over here, both floating out the concrete, we like to bowl float multiple directions because it just makes the concrete patio come out that much flatter and nicer. This part right here, we don't really need to worry about finishing it too nicely. It can be a pretty rough finish, but I believe we finished it pretty well in the end anyways. Even though there was a part that we had to scrape down a little bit before it got too hard because it was a little too high. And there's that board I was talking about that was separating our concrete pavers to the lower side. And also there's our concrete curb to cover up that footing of the block wall. So this was a very hot day as well. I believe it was like almost 100 degrees out. It was hot and this concrete was not waiting for no one. It was going off. So we had to put a lot of effort in trying to get this concrete finished up before it dried on us. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe for all the hard work me and the guys put in on this job. Here we are hitting some of these concrete squares with our funny float. Kind of a tight area to get in, so we were using the funny float to just be able to reach around each other. So what we just did was we went around the whole concrete patio in the back, edged all the edge, and floated the areas where we could just finish. We'll get out there later, probably hit it with a funny trowel. But right now what we're trying to do is figure out exactly where we're going to be putting our joint lines. And what we did was we measured to the corner of that patio porch. Now we're going to measure over from this side so that we can get an exactly straight line off the corner of that patio porch in two ways. We're going to do kind of like a perpendicular joint off that corner. So there's the mark, and that's straight with that corner right there. We're just going to get our 6-foot concrete cutter, joint cutter, put a nice straight joint in this concrete, and then we'll come back with a little joiner to clean it up. So there it is, nice, clean, and straight. You want to make sure you go on the inside of that form too, not the outside, because once you strip that form, your joint would be off. These 6-foot joiners are really nice too because they almost cover this whole section of the joint that we're putting in, so it makes the joint come out really nice and straight. And there is the walking joiner that I was talking about that we're going to come and clean up the rest of these joints with once we get them cut in with the 6-foot joint cutter. We're doing a 3/4 inch joints. The joints are mainly to help crack control. So when the concrete does try cracking, it will crack on these joints rather than just anywhere at once on this patio. That's why they do call them controlled joints. Typically, you want to put control joints when you have anything over 10 by 10. You can get away with a 10 by 12 most likely, but if you want to play it safe, 10 by 10 is the largest concrete squares that you want to do before you got to start putting joints in. So now that we have all of our joints in, we're just going to do one full pass over all the concrete. Since it is starting to stiffen up, get a little hard, we're doing our first pass with our funny trowels. And we'll be hitting all the smaller areas just with our hand trowels. Here we are, just cleaning up this little 2-step stair. Floating the top of it, bringing up that cream. Then we're going to clean the edge with our margin trowel, just so we can see the edge and get all the excess concrete out of the way, so it's not trying to stick when we do try stripping it today. See, it's kind of a balancing act out here. You gotta stand in between those little 6-inch gaps while we're finishing concrete. Now we're hitting it with a 1/2-inch radius edger. That's what we like to use when we start to edge, 1/2-inch radius. I believe this was our second pass over the whole thing. One more pass and we'll be stripping those steps and then also the porch as well. This is our last and final pass. We're stripping out that porch right now, finishing the face of it. I believe actually one of those stakes broke on us, and that's why when I was talking about it in the second part, it's always kind of better to have metal stakes because those won't break on you. And we're actually using a 100% nylon broom for this, since it was a hot day. This stuff was drying really fast. The nylon actually kind of is a little bit of a rougher broom, but since it was already pretty hot, it gave it a really nice light medium, nice easy to medium broom finish. We're just doing one more pass on that face step of the porch right before we broom it. You can actually see he's brooming it as he's finishing it. He's got a little hand broom with him. Now we're starting to finish the top of the porch. And the sides. You can see we're actually throwing a little bit of water on the concrete because it was getting too hard, and got to make sure we can get that nice broom finish over the top of it for safety reasons. You never want smooth finished concrete where you're going to be walking over it all the time because you could slip and fall when it's wet. And here we are stripping the 2-step stair going into the house. Luckily we oiled all of our forms before the pour, so it was really easy to take off all these boards. And you can see over by the block wall, we took the forms off the curb as well, finished that up. And we're actually starting to finish the concrete pavers as well. Getting the broom wet, and then we're finishing the top surface. This is actually the part I was talking about in the very beginning of this video, where we actually had to start scraping down some of this concrete because we put a level across this to our concrete pavers, to the form we have set up, and it was only a 1/2 inch, so we had to scrape down a little bit of this concrete before it got too hard on us, just so we can achieve that 3/4 inch for the tilers that come in later. Now, once we were done checking or scraping enough down, we're just double checking with our level again to make sure that we have the right depth we need. The edger we had actually kind of made of a good scraper, good scraping tool. Alright guys, check it out. Concrete's all poured out. Sam's missing the top right now. It's a very hot day, so we want to keep this thing wet, so we get no shrinkage cracks. Also, we took out these forms right here. Oh, he's getting the cameras wet. We also took out these forms so we can avoid the concrete trying to expand and crack. And then right over here, you can see this right here. That stake is 3/4 of an inch over to this concrete. We should have about 3/4 of an inch. And let's check it out. Let's put the level on, or put the tape measure. Yeah, looks like we have 3/4 of an inch to almost 1 inch, huh? So that's good. Quarters. So that is pretty much wrapping up the pour day for the day. The next day we are going to be here. We're just going to be stripping all of the forms we have left, and then also we're going to be pouring concrete in between those 6-inch gaps so that we can get the tile placed there later on. But this is pretty much how it all looks when we finished. And here is the next day as we are taking out all of the forms. Once we took all those middle gaps, we left the forms in on the side because we're going to be pouring concrete, and we need the concrete to stay in the middle between these gaps. So all we did was we took out the 6-inch divider forms and use that for our wheelbarrow to go over the 6-inch gaps, because we don't want to hit the edges hard with our wheelbarrows and crack the edges or damage them in any way. So as we kept pouring the concrete in between the 6-inch gaps, we just kept taking those forms out and moving backwards. We also cut a little piece of wood about 3/4 of an inch. You can see him using it right there, just so we get an exact 3/4 of an inch, and then we just pretty much just let it dry. We don't need to finish it. We don't need to worry about anything like that, because like I've been saying, it's gonna get tiled. But this is the end of this series, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the first 2 parts, the part 1 and 2 that came before this video. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out on the channel, and it shows you exactly how we got to this point. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed everything, and have a great day.